Hey, welcome back to Creative Conversations. Michael Shaun Corby here. I am so happy to be hosting these incredible creative guests. And our guest today is a little something different. This is our winning salon for Inspiring Salon of the Year. And you might be thinking, well, that's not a photo shoot, it's not a collection. But I think about it this way. Could any of us become the creative people we are without that creative space to which we work, our home, where we live, our community, our really family of creativity? So Inspiring Salon is really about being that incubator for the creativity that leads you to getting into NAHA. So why not bring in this brand new category for us? It's only been a couple years of the Inspiring Salon category, and we have an incredible guest for you today. So our first guest in this category has been on the business side of fashion and beauty since 1991. But when you see her, you're not going to believe it. And we're all going to want to know what her skincare routine is. She is the owner of Rachel's Salon and Day Spa, an iconic business, and why nobody could deny that this was truly our Inspiring Salon of the Year. She's been at this for many years, working with Aveda as a salon development specialist. She's a trainer herself. She's a cosmetics specialist and makeup artist. So yeah, she's in the beauty industry as well. She's not all business, but she's got some creativity. In addition, she's a certified braider and extension specialist, and she even has her own courses on bridal work. So, look, is there anything you can't do? Please welcome to the show, Paige Garland.
Hi.
Hi. I just could go on and on about you forever because it's like I love when somebody's got the business and the creativity simultaneously.
Starting to
Please.
wonder who you were describing there for a minute.
Well, we're just so glad to have you here and to be a part of Creative Conversations. And I think you'd probably agree that, salons are really our other home, right? Salons are probably
Absolutely.
where you get the ideas to enter into NAHA, and you truly are an inspiring salon. With Rachel's Salon and Day Spa. We'll get into why it's called Rachel and your name's Paige in a little bit. But tell us a little bit about your story. And why don't we start there? Tell us about meeting Rachel and your story and how this all came about.
So, obviously, my business is named Rachel's, and I'm Paige. Um, I was, as you mentioned, the salon development partner with Aveda. Two tours. I started in in the 1700s. Um, I started in 1993, I believe, worked for about 6, 7 years, took some time off and raised my family, had some life changes, and went back to work full time. And when I did, Rachel was one of my accounts. I covered a 3-state territory, and she had been with Aveda for many, many years. She wasn't my account the first time around, but I got her the second time around. And we had a great relationship. She was behind the chair, and she had owned her business for, at that time, almost 30 years. And she still loves, but she's retired now, doing hair. That's what she wanted to do. She was tired of the business aspect of it. I rolled along, and she kind of went, "Hey, what do you think about buying this place?" And I couldn't shake it. It's a beautiful location and a historic building. It's in an area of the city where there is an opportunity to make a difference a lot of different ways. And the downtown demographic is just a little different in Memphis. And I fell in love with it, and I already loved her. So we struck a deal, and it'll be 10 years this October. I've been the owner of that business. So I didn't change the name because I bought her reputation as well as her business. And it was the smart thing to do.
That is so smart. And yeah, it's funny. I've been around for a minute as well. And I think that's, I've been in salons, I've purchased salons where I'm like, what this needs is to change everything. Well, then what are you buying, folks? You may as well just rent an empty space and get a better deal on the lease. Because
Right. Well, and one of the things that made it work between she and I is that our vision was the same. We were already aligned in the things that we believed in and the things that we were committed to and the reasons. And she and I were both kind of brought up in this industry about relationships. Relationships,
yeah,
the foundation of what creates the salon industry as a whole, whether it's your relationship with each other, with your stylist, with your community, with your clients, it all circles back to the same thing. And somehow she and I were aligned there. So
yeah,
it worked. And she was supposed to stay on for 2 years. That was the deal in the contract. And she
I
stayed for
love.
7.
She
So,
stayed for 7.
yeah.
Oh gosh. And what was I can only imagine what that must have been like for both of you, really.
There were days where it was out of respect and not wanting to come in and change everything. There were
Yeah,
times where it was a little bit awkward because I
yeah,
never wanted to hurt her feelings or make her feel like she didn't do it right. But the
right.
honest truth is, that woman taught me so much in the 7 years that she was there,
Yeah,
even if she never opened her mouth, simply
right.
by her presence, by her demeanor, by her sincerity. And it was hard not for it to be contagious. So,
Yeah,
I had quite a mentor for
that's
sure.
amazing. Yeah, I mean, they in many acquisitions, keeping the founder slash CEO often it's a 2-year max. They want more, but it's a 2-year max before they go off and create another revolution. So the fact that you got 3 times the max plus is pretty exciting. So you are the Inspiring Salon of the Year. The North American Hairstyling Awards have voted, and your salon is the winner. What does this mean to you on a personal and professional level?
I've put a lot of thought to that. This is, it's difficult to describe for me. Given the fact that my background is in business rather than being behind the chair, this is the only category that I qualify for. I have watched NAHA streamed. I have been around this industry for decades. So I
Right.
have watched from afar. And we were finalists in 2022. And I remember distinctly sitting in that room the first time I was there, completely overwhelmed by the fact that all of these icons that I had fangirled over for decades were
Right.
right there. Like, I'm on the same row as who? What?
Yeah.
It was surreal for me. A little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know. Imposter syndrome a little bit at first, kind of like, what am I doing here? What, me?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I had somebody kind of sit me down and set me straight and help me kind of get my wits about what I was really doing there. And what I remembered was inspiration is very personal.
Yeah.
What inspires you doesn't necessarily inspire me. However, this industry as a whole is inspirational to someone somewhere.
Yeah.
And regardless of the part of the inspiration that inspires you or me, someone's getting something from someone along the way. And
Right.
if we look at all of the parts that go into that category, there were a lot of ways that it did fit. I guess in hindsight, I can look back. It's hard to put myself in that position because it's just not my nature. But so yeah, I feel like circles.
I get that too. I've been helping as the chairman of NAHA, and I for many years looked to the work of Antoinette Binders, and she's one of those artists where it's on a cover because she's Antoinette. You just know immediately. It could be a lace over the face, or just the clarity, the crispness, the beauty of the work. You just know it's her, right? Or someone who's worked with Antoinette. So for me, I was like you, where it was like, oh my God, I'm in the same room with her. I'm watching her rehearse. Oh my God, I'm sitting next to her while she rehearses. you get that moment of, am I supposed to be here? Is this really
Exactly.
happening? And yes, you are supposed to be there. I love this category personally. It's something that I was in the room while we developed the idea. A big inspiration for us was CNN Heroes, where these are people from everyday little towns to big adventures in foreign lands to just making little steps, right, regardless of their age, to do better for the world. And in your case, it's this longevity, it's this love and support and community that comes from the salon that I think really stood out to us as we reviewed the hundreds of entries that we receive for these things. So I think that this category is really wide open. It's not necessarily the biggest salon, or in the past we would give a salon award, but it was quite simply you had the most money to make the most beautiful place. And no offense, because through that, I mean, we met some incredible humans, Penzones and Di Pasquales, and I don't want to miss anybody, so I'll just stop there. But I mean, these people really know how to build a salon. I mean, they have like operation centers, phone call centers that are off-site, and 100 washers and dryers going for some of their spas, and
mine was broken last week.
right. And then you have a salon that's they're putting a piece of duct tape on it to make sure the door doesn't open. So we wanted to really make sure that we had a broader reach to salons and really to the meaning of inspiration. So I would like to ask you now, what do you think, or how this will impact your career, either personally or for the salon, your salon community in general, moving forward?
That's a tough one. I don't know necessarily how it's going to impact my career, because to be perfectly honest with you, it already has.
Right.
So going forward, what impact will it have on my future? That's for the future to tell. What I can tell you is this: the process of putting together this entry, gathering the letters, doing the video, looking at the photos, and selecting the things, brought me to a pretty full circle moment with the realization of what we have actually been able to accomplish. With the guidelines, there's not a focus specifically on charity work or on community work or on clients, or that it's all encompassing, right? And so when I sat down to request the letters that have to be part of the submission, my thought process was, okay, there are kind of 5 pillars of this if you really look at the broad stroke. I'm going to send an email out, and I'm going to try to tap one of all 5 different people in this, thinking I may be lucky and get 3 people to say, sure, I'll write a letter for you. I got 5 back.
Oh, that's so great.
And those, I'm not going to cry. I'm not. Those 5 letters are worth gold to me. I will cherish them forever, because what they showed me is that other people do see that we think they don't see. And, PBA created a category that kind of sits aside from the standard role of the professional, of the beauty professional. This is not about our standard role. This is about the other stuff.
Right.
And
the human stuff.
Right. Exactly. The human piece, the relationships, just like I said earlier. And I was floored.
Yeah.
But in a way that it allowed me to accept the award, if that makes any sense at all. Because at first it was, like I said, imposter syndrome. How on earth did I land here? When you're talking about these large salons, and I'm nodding my head because I used to call on those salons, like I've been in them. I am quite literally the little salon on Main Street. Our
Right.
salon address is 10 North Main. I mean, we
Right.
couldn't be more on Main Street.
Right.
And we're a small salon. We're very small. And I have absolutely no aspirations to be Van Michael or any of the other great. I
Yeah.
don't want that. I
Right.
love right where we are because I know I get to have community and I get to see the outcome and I get to be a part of it. Even though I'm not behind the chair, I get to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's the why for me. I just, you know, it just is. So
I'm seeing
that's a very
maybe
long
frame
answer
those
to your
letters.
question. But
Yeah, I think you need to frame those letters. I've got a few letters
oh,
myself that in talking to you, I'm like, you know what? Sometimes a letter deserves a frame or an album or something. So
absolutely.
I love hearing that. Where, you know, you can't look at Rachel's Salon and Day Spa not only for the beautiful work that comes from it, the longtime alliance with Aveda and all the creativity that lies there, and just, you know, look, so many salons open and close within the first year. So many artists have moved more to a salon suites format, which is great. You know, I'm happy for them and I'm happy for those businesses, but you do miss that human connection, right? You do miss the activities to which you do together. At times, maybe you're a baseball team or a book club, and so I think one of the wonderful things you've done as build, and probably started with Rachel, I'm guessing, and continued with you. But tell us about your work with St. Jude and Pink Wig project, for example, and any others you'd like to discuss.
So our outreach with St. Jude is simple. It is honestly, it's very simple. They do a lot of other things for their patients, and our goal is to provide a place of respite for the families.
Okay.
These parents are yanked out of their homes. They are thrown into some hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, in the middle of God knows where. Very few of them, let me rephrase that, very few of the families are actually local. I have met more families from every corner of this country, and their child is potentially dying. And all day, every day, they focus on caring for their child,
Yeah.
on what the doctors do, what comes next, which test, what treatment, which trial treatment are we going to try? So for us, we simply make ourselves available as a welcoming respite that's not a hospital environment.
Right.
To come in, for us to love on them, for us to care for them. And sometimes it's just a pass-through appointment with a little discount or whatever. And sometimes it's a lifelong relationship. For example, Macy, the little girl that's featured in a lot of our photos.
Yeah.
I met she and her mother in, I want to say 2016. It's been a long relationship, and Macy is in full remission now. But she was one of my, at the time when we first met her, she was the first St. Jude baby for one of my new hires. And to watch Mallory connect with Macy and see that relationship grow and see how she cared for her. We shaved her head when it was time, and mom came in for pedicures and facials, and just, it's really not so much that we're doing anything for St. Jude. We're just trying to be available for the families when they need a place that's not a hospital, that can nurture and love on them and hold mom's hand when it's time, or hold dad's hand when he's getting his head shaved because his son's getting his head shaved. You know, it's the little things. It's not a huge, we're not donating thousands and thousands of dollars. We're donating our hearts. And I think that's the thing for us. And then, you know, on the other end of the spectrum, still cancer related, but our commitment to the Pink Wig Project. Terry Trotter, who founded the Pink Wig Project, was a friend of mine from way back, and she was diagnosed with cancer 2009, I believe. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we lost Terry in 2018. But before we did, she started this foundation, and it's kind of along the same lines in that the spirit of the Pink Wig is to bring joy to the recipient so that they remember that there's more to them than cancer. So that when they look in the mirror, they don't just see the treatments and the bald head and the things. They see fun, and you can go out in public in a pink wig and people just think you're in a pink wig. Nobody
Right.
knows that it's cancer. And that's the shortest version of this foundation, but it's remarkable in the joy that I've watched it bring to people that we've had come in and receive their wigs with us. We've participated in their fashion shows and their fundraisers things, and it's a lot of fun, but at the same time, it's a very serious subject and it's heart-wrenching. So if we're able to bring a little bit of peace in that process,
It's amazing. And I wanted to make sure to get that in there because it was a big part of what we saw. And again, the inspiring category, we know what a big heart hairdressers have in general, stylists. So that's great to see. Speaking of hairdressers, you can't talk about the four walls. You can't talk about the founder. You can't talk about really the philanthropy without discussing the DNA, which is the human, right, within those four walls. Tell me a little bit about your team and any tips and tricks or foundational things that you can share with other salon owners out there who maybe they're right there with you. They don't need to be a giant salon. They just want, I want my 6 to 8 chairs, or I have a feeling small for you is 20 chairs, but they want, whatever their measure of what success looks like, they just want a happy home. And as we know, hairdressers, there's however many hairdressers you have, that's how many varied opinions you have. And so do you have anything you can share with us about your team and ways that you have sort of managed the team? I hate the word managed, but you know what I mean? You're the coach.
I do my best. I try to approach it as a coach as opposed to a manager, and they may disagree. We're all human, right?
Right.
I think for me, there's a couple of pieces that I was raised in this industry by people who taught me that relationships matter most and that people are individuals. They're not a whole.
Right.
For me, also, one thing that I try desperately to do, whether I get it right every day or not, is I try to approach my day with I get to as opposed to I have to. And for me, the shift there is I am so blessed to be where I am. I am so blessed to be healthy, to have this amazing team. Small, yes, but they would have my back. I wouldn't have to even ask. And I get to be a part of that. I get to watch what happens. I get to say yes when other salon owners don't get to say yes because they are behind the chair. There are places that I can throw my hat in the ring that other salon owners may or may not be able to because of the fact that I'm in the office. I'm not on the floor. And I try to make myself available. I heard someone tell me early in my career as an owner that they felt I was unapproachable. And it shocked me and it crushed me because that is not who I am and it's not my goal. Right. But I heard them. And what I heard was, you're so busy, I don't think you have time for me. So the shift for me had to be, first of all, I had to hear them. I had to be willing to hear what they had to say. And then I had to tell them, you need to speak up and tell me what you need. And I'm here, but right. I'm not a mind reader. We're all grown-ups here and so forth and so on. But I think that good leaders, and I'm not saying I'm a good leader by any stretch, but I think that there's a place for being comfortable with saying, I don't know, and being comfortable with saying, don't have all the answers, and being willing to hear other people's feedback instead of just assuming because I'm the boss and I sign the paychecks that it's my way or the highway. It's so many more layers to that. And I get to experience all of them. So
that's so important. And I like that you have that open approach. Is there, I mentioned you're doing makeup and bridal courses and extensions and all this. Many watching, and we'll give this a special notice to those of you who are watching. It's because this is really about salon ownership or working within a salon. Any advice you can give on, right? Sometimes a stylist is in the middle of a very detailed highlight process and doesn't have time to deal with, we're out of toilet paper and you don't know where to find it. Or, it could be that simple. Or like, I'm having a problem with this stylist for ABC reasons. Maybe your head isn't fully in it. Any advice on how to juggle the time between your business hat, mama signs the checks, and like, I have work to do myself. Because it is an open, it's not like other businesses. You don't go behind the door and shut the door. We're in this together. This soup
Absolutely.
is cooking all day long.
Gosh, that's a loaded gun. I don't give advice. I give personal experience. So what I can tell you is my experience has been, again, something I learned very early on is the phrase, we all do windows.
Right.
In our business, we all do windows. We all fold towels. We all sweep hair. We all answer phones when we need to. We all tear foils. We all restock the bathrooms. There is no hierarchy because we're small. We don't really need all of that. And sometimes when you're small, it's easy to kind of single people out. And when you're big, it's easier to slide under the radar. I've seen it both ways.
Right.
So for us, it's an equal partnership. It takes all of us to get it done every single day. Yes, we have people who are more experienced and are more leadership driven on the cutting floor and have the ability to teach a cut that someone who's brand new doesn't have. And they're willing to. And during downtime, that is what happens. It's also during downtime is when we tear foils and we fold towels and we do all the things. So, don't pigeonhole yourself because you're an owner or because you're a stylist or because you're big or because you're small. This industry is what it is because it has all of those different components. Yeah. And it takes every single spoke in the wheel to make the wheel go all the way around, whether you have a chart that you sign off on every day to make sure somebody brought the sign in at the end of the day, or whatever it happens to be. For me, we all do windows. That's the way it.
I love that. There's a restaurant, we don't have it in LA anymore. There's a restaurant called Houston's, and I know they still have some here and there. And it's exactly that. You never had the same server the whole time. Mm-hmm. Whoever their management training style was like, if a glass isn't full, fill it. If you're walking by and a salmon looks overcooked, pick it up and apologize. Like, even if you didn't drop the food, it was just the most amazing thing to see. And to watch them turn a table, right? Because there's people waiting 90 minutes to get in. I was just like, I want this in my salon. What is this, please? And it's exactly what you're saying. We all wash windows.
And it's being aware of what's going on around you instead of being self-focused, we're we-focused. And, we never brought a waiting area back after COVID. Once they took those away from us, I was like, we don't need it. We run on time. Why do we run on time? Well, for one thing, we try to book smart, but the other part of that is we work as a team. If she's running behind, then she's going to be shampooing while he's getting ready for, that's the way it works for us. I can't say that it works like that every single day, but 90% of the time, it does. Like I said, I have people say, where's your waiting room? We don't have one.
Can you share any more secret sauce on that? Because I'm the king of, like, I had 3 assistants at one point and I still had somebody angry in the lobby. So, like, please, is there anything you can share? New salons who are maybe struggling a bit to coach that process. Anything you can share along those lines of, wow, no waiting room?
Well, for one thing, we're small. It wouldn't work for everyone. It really wouldn't. But for us, because
first, let's set up what is small. Because I think, how many chairs?
We have 7 chairs. Okay. And 6 stylists currently with an esthetician. We do not currently have a massage therapist, but we have a massage room.
Okay, good. Okay. Because some people, small is like, oh, we're only 40 people. So I think
small.
6, but I think 6 is where a lot of us are living. And small towns, uptowns, downtowns. This is a very important size, and I would say not small, but average size
Okay, so
salon.
we don't like the word average.
I don't like it either. I'll fight, like popular size salon. How about
Yes.
that? So anything you can share on how, but besides that, we all wash windows. Is there anything booking tips or tricks you could give us? How far apart and so forth?
It's almost like looking at the word inspiration. It's a very personal situation based on your clientele and on your culture. It depends on, are you a full service salon? Are you a salon that's, get them in, get them out kind of situation? Do you work with apprentices? Do you work with assistants? I wish I could tell you there's a magic formula, but I think what it boils down to for me is I watch when it happens. I try to pay attention, and I notice if I have a new stylist who's not finishing on time, I'm walking the cutting floor while they're on with their client, and I'm pacing, and I'm looking, not pacing back and forth, but I'm pacing them to see, okay, are her guests being booked in a timely fashion that's not rushing the guest, not leaving too many gaps, and also not stressing her out thinking, oh my God, I've got to finish this before my 2 o'clock gets here. No, we don't want that experience for our clients. We want our clients to feel like they are the only ones in the chair at that moment in time, because they are. They're the ones paying for the time.
I really like that. I like that a lot. I hadn't thought about it that way, but giving them that special moment, giving them that special time. This is a completely selfish question because I haven't owned a salon in over 20 years. And
Kidding.
I'm not getting back into it. I said for me, it was just at times the coaching felt for me personally a bit like babysitting, right? I was like, when you said we're all adults here, I would get, and I said, I'm the wrong guy for this position, right? Where to me, it's obvious that toilet paper has a toilet paper closet and it gets replaced and a towel gets folded. So for me, it became like I'm cleaning up after the kids. So it just wasn't for me. But a personal question, what should you be tipping on a haircut, particularly a men's haircut? What do you think should be? Is it always $20? Is there a percentage?
I mean, the standard in our business is 20%.
Okay.
We do not put the little thing up that says 10, 15, 20, or breaks it down. We have a blank that if they would like to leave gratuity, they can. And I tell them, if you don't, that's totally fine. Just enter past it, because we don't expect it. Our stylists we have 2 different pay scales. We have one that's straight commission, and then we have one that's a hybrid with hourly plus commission. And they get good commission. So if they do not earn the tip, the tip shouldn't be expected. But the standard in our business is usually 20%.
Good to know. I'm going to have to look at, because a barber here in LA is $80 for 20 minutes of their time. So good to know. I've been under tipping, and I apologize to my barber. So many fun things. What I'd like to do now, and again, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your journey and all of your success. And again, congratulations on being the Inspiring Salon of the Year. If I were you, that would be, I would make that into a window cling. I would put that in my local newspaper. And I have no doubt that you, for a long time to come, will have 6 very full chairs. Everybody's going to want to work there. So congrats to you. I'd like to finish what I call with an easy 8, just fun, quick questions in a sentence or 2. First thing that comes to your mind, not deep thought. If one's a terrible answer, we can always edit it out later. So let's do some easy 8 questions. Are you ready, Paige?
I'm ready.
Okay. What did you want to do with your life at the age of 12?
If I tell you this story, it's going to absolutely wreck. Okay. I was a bit of a button pusher. And so in order to get a rise out of my father, sorry, Dad, I used to, and whether this was actually what I wanted to do or not, I used to tell him I wanted to be a truck driver.
Yes.
Not that I really did, but it was just the standard answer because it would make him crazy. So,
Right. And I mean, you're not as old as me, but we had BJ and the Bear, BJ McKay and his best
I
friend
am
Bear was
too.
with
I
the
had
monkey.
turned 55 yesterday.
Oh, I'm 55, 55 club.
Double nickels.
And happy birthday.
Thank
Happy birthday. And we're looking good, right? Well, you are.
Well, we are.
What color clothing do you wear the most?
Black.
Okay, black, black hairdresser uniform, right? What
It's
three
easy.
words best describe living in Memphis or Memphis living?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
What are the three words to describe living in Memphis or Memphis living? Because I know in the South it's more like Memphis living.
So I'm gonna use three words that describe the people as opposed to Memphis living because this could be a little different. The people in Memphis are genuine. If you're from somewhere that's a huge city and people pass you on the street and they smile and say hi, sometimes there's this, they really mean it. They're just genuinely being kind. The opposite of that is grit. There's a grit to this city that's hard to describe, but if you know, you know. It's kind of a mixture between we're tough, but yet we're just kind of getting to the next spot. I don't really know.
Yeah, I like it.
Hopeful. Memphis has had a tough couple of years, so we're going to go with hopeful for the last one.
Nice. Do you like surprises, Paige?
Most of the time. Depends on what's coming after that question.
What's something you're tired of?
Something I'm tired of.
Could be fashion.
The word unprecedented.
Unprecedented. I like that.
You asked.
Yeah, mine would be juxtaposition.
That one too.
What's a trend you would like to see disappear forever?
Oh. I don't know because they redo them so well.
I know.
Like, I say mullet, then you're going to go, no, the mullets are great.
It's the coolest thing ever.
You know, I'm a pretty classic person, so I don't really, you know, if you want to have a trend, have a trend. Keep it.
And one last one. What's a song you never get tired of?
Boy, you're killing me.
You don't have a favorite song?
I love music, period. All of it.
Obviously.
I really don't. I mean, there's not much I don't like other than like heavy metal I don't like. But other than that,
yeah, same.
Easy. Sorry, I don't have a favorite.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, mine I think is Hotel California. I just have such
classics,
fond memories, and the parents playing it in the car, and it can just. I hear that boom, 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 and I'm like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm back there again.
But
if it's played all day, yeah, I might. Thank you again, Paige, for joining us here today. You truly are an inspiration. I love that, you know, the winner of this category has 6 chairs. I love that. How many years in business now?
It was 40 years last year, so 41.
I mean, 6 chairs for 41 years. So those of you watching who may be struggling a bit with the salon or wondering what to do next, maybe it's 6 chairs and everybody washes windows. Some really great tips there. So thank you again to you, Paige, for joining us here. And thank you to all of you for watching these shows, Creative Conversations today, having a creative conversation, thinking outside the box, having a successful salon. There are many ways to be creative. I'm Michael Shaun Corby, and I will see you on our next chat on Creative Conversations. And thank you again, Paige.
Absolutely. Thank you.